They never told you this. But something happens in the unseen world the moment you fast, something real, something violent, something supernatural. And if you could see what moves in the spirit when you say no to your flesh, you would never take fasting lightly again. Because fasting is not about skipping meals. Fasting is not about starving yourself. Fasting is not about proving discipline. No, fasting is a weapon, a spiritual key, a physical act that unlocks a spiritual reality. The Bible reveals a mystery most believers never hear. Physical obedience brings spiritual release. Every time, without exceptions. We see it in the story of Moses. As long as his hands were raised, Israel won. When his hands came down, Israel lost. Why? Were his hands magical? Did the pose itself contain power? No, it was the principle. When God asks for a physical act of obedience, and you do it, heaven responds. Angels move. Spiritual forces shift. Victory is released. And the same God who told Moses to lift his hands tells you today, when you fast, when you yield your body, when you weaken your flesh so your spirit can rise, there is a battle you do not see that begins to shift. Your obedience here changes your reality there. And maybe that's why fasting feels so hard, because your flesh knows something your mind doesn't. Fasting threatens everything that controls you. Your cravings, your habits, your impulses, your comfort, all of it loses power the moment you say, I deny myself. It's not your stomach fighting you, it's your flesh. And your flesh has been your master for too long. That's why the first hours of a fast feel like war, because they are. You're declaring independence from everything that has ruled your life without permission. But listen carefully. Fasting doesn't just silence the flesh. It activates the spirit. It weakens the natural so the supernatural can rise. That's why Jesus didn't begin his ministry until after a fast. He walked into the wilderness ordinary, but he walked out in the power of the Spirit. That wasn't hunger, that was alignment. And this is where the story of Daniel becomes crucial. Daniel wasn't fasting for a miracle. He was aligning his life with heaven. And the moment he began his fast, the moment he set his heart to seek God, the moment he denied desirable bread, heaven moved. Not later. Not after 21 days, on the first day. The angel said, from the first day you set your heart to understand, your words were heard. Let that sink in. Heaven responded instantly, but the breakthrough was delayed because of a war in the unseen realm. A principality resisted the angel carrying Daniel's answer for 21 days, and Daniel's fasting kept that angel strengthened. His physical act fueled a spiritual battle. Every skipped meal weakened hell's resistance. Every prayer strengthened heaven's armies. His obedience became angelic reinforcement. This is why fasting matters. You are not fighting alone. There are angels assigned to your destiny, angels assigned to your family, angels assigned to your calling. And when you fast, you empower heaven to fight on your behalf. People say higher levels, higher devils, but the truth is different. Higher levels, higher angelic protection. The more you rise, the more heaven surrounds you. When the servant of Elisha panicked seeing the enemy army, God opened his eyes, and he saw chariots of fire. The higher your calling, the stronger the divine reinforcement. But fasting doesn't just release angels, it breaks chains inside you. Jesus said the disciples couldn't cast out a demon for two reasons: unbelief, meaning they had disconnected from God, and perversity, meaning they had become too connected to the world. Prayer reconnects you to God. Fasting disconnects you from the world. And together, you become unstoppable. Some of you are fighting battles you were never meant to fight alone. Some of you are exhausted because you're fighting with your flesh instead of your spirit. Some of you pray but don't fast, and you wonder why the mountain doesn't move. Some of you fast but don't pray, and you wonder why nothing changes inside you. The power is in the combination. Fasting without prayer is dieting. Prayer without fasting is incomplete. But when you fast and pray, something breaks, something shifts, something opens. Fasting is your declaration that you want God more than comfort, more than food, more than entertainment, more than habit, more than pleasure. Fasting is the tearing down of idols you didn't even know you worshipped, because an idol is anything you cannot say no to, and fasting exposes them all. But here's the beauty. The moment you give up desirable food, you become desirable to God. Daniel said, I ate no desirable bread. And heaven answered, Daniel, greatly desired. Not because of effort, but because obedience is attractive to heaven. Sacrifice draws the eyes of God. Not because he needs it, but because sacrifice reveals what your heart truly loves. And maybe right now, God is calling you to a fast, not to punish you, not to weaken you, not to shame you, but to free you, to clarify you, to cleanse the noise, to realign your purpose, to prepare you for something bigger than you can imagine. Your spirit has been whispering, your flesh has been screaming, and God is saying, silence the flesh, come back to me, disconnect from the world, reconnect with my presence. If you want spiritual power, there is no shortcut. If you want clarity, you must quiet the noise. If you want healing, you must surrender the comfort. If you want breakthrough, you must weaken the flesh. And if you want favor, unusual, undeniable, supernatural favor, then obey. Do the physical act that releases spiritual reality. The fast God is calling you to may be the battle that wins the war you've been losing. Not because fasting changes God, but because fasting finally changes you.